The first reader tonight is someone who I think is kind of like, to quote that famous quote that's like now become a viral sound, voice of a generation. Jake Shane, he is brilliant. He's also, I mean, I'm supposed to like list some accolades. Like to me, he's just like, I remember when he popped up and I was just like, who is this guy? And still to this day, he makes me laugh. He let me go on his podcast, my first podcast appearance, so that was big. And he just sold a show to Hulu. Yeah, I will let him come up and let's all just clap it up for Jake Shane. Get up here.
Okay. A little more nervous than I anticipated. Okay, so I am going to read this thing I wrote 3 years ago. So, when do I just start? Okay.
I feel like I should say it before we start.
Right.
We're just doing like it's like story hour. It's like the moth. This is like it's like the moth. So okay.
Right. When I was little, I used to tap things evenly. If I didn't, bad things would happen. At least that's what I told myself. What started as a quirky habit quickly became concerning. The more I tried to restrain myself from tapping things evenly, the more the need grew. The even taps turned into even numbers, turned into odd numbers, turned into whatever my brain decided to torture me with that day. Intrusive thoughts, they're called, though I didn't know it then. I started counting everything from my breaths to my steps to how many times I told my mom that I loved her before going to bed. It was and still is debilitating and humiliating. I don't remember the first time I heard about obsessive compulsive disorder, OCD, but I do remember having to convince people I had it. To the average bystander, OCD is a neat disease. Everything has to be in a certain order. The OCD life is organized. That made my experience hard to believe. My life was visibly and internally falling apart. Being neat was the least of my concerns. OCD is a long-lasting disorder that finds its victim at the receiving end of intrusive thoughts that result in compulsive behavior and rituals. For example, tapping things evenly or counting breaths or ensuring you're never left alone. Over the years, my OCD had turned my fear of abandonment into a sharpened knife, stuck it in, and twisted it. I was scared of being left at all times, and I didn't know what was happening. There was little to no representation in the media of what I was experiencing. I took some solace in television, like Dr. Drew's VH1 reality show about OCD, and in HBO's Girls, and in particular, an episode that shows Hannah Horvath suffering a serious OCD meltdown. But being seen can only help so much. My OCD made it difficult to take in information at school. My brain was constantly switching to the next ritual I could perform to ensure I had the good luck some invisible force promised me. It became hard to read, which was heartbreaking, and I had to read, reread, and read again certain passages to quiet my brain. Even television became difficult as my OCD made me rewatch certain scenes over and over and over again to fulfill the task I'd set for myself, and I really wanted peace. Where I finally found it, if momentarily, was in pop stars. Something about female pop stars made the world go quiet. Hyperfixation, a symptom of OCD in and of itself, was in fact my only comfort. In elementary school, I fell in love with the Cheetah Girls, a Disney girl group that preached self-love, diversity, and friendship. My preteen years were time-stamped by Lorde's album Pure Heroine and Lily Allen's entire discography. On Lorde's song Ribs, it felt as if she's saying, "It feels so scary getting old to me personally," as I wondered if my best years were behind me. Thankfully, they weren't, because I was 12. Middle school was marked by my admiration of Lady Gaga. I went to school in the suburbs of New York and often felt like an outcast. I don't think I realized it at the time, but she made me feel accepted in a community where I wasn't. 9th, 10th, and 11th grade I remember as my Beyoncé period, where her albums 4 and her self-titled album helped me coast along arguably the most frustrating but fulfilling years of my life. Senior year, I was obsessed with Amy Winehouse and Britney Spears, both a last-ditch effort to cling on to my childhood, faced with the lonesome reality of adulthood, but no one had more of an impact on me than Taylor Swift. Swift helped me in ways indescribable, but one that I will remember forever is being the only constant I had in the ever-changing year that was 2020. My quarantine was marked by Folklore and Evermore and ended with her re-recording of her 2008 album, Fearless. Swift's lyricism guided me through a pivotal time of self-growth. I've been the archer, I've been the prey, who could ever leave me, darling, but who could stay? Swift croons on her 2019 track, The Archer, and in other words, she taught me that loving yourself and being self-critical can coexist. And by soundtracking my life, these artists helped build my character in ways I couldn't in a traditional setting. I was able to romanticize a life that wasn't always worth romanticizing. The lyrics felt like classroom lectures that offered invaluable life lessons, and I felt like a character in my own movie whose traits, the good and the bad, added important layers to a plot. I found the importance of chosen family in the Cheetah Girls, my bravery and raunchiness in Lady Gaga, my introspection in Lorde, my drive from Beyonce, my understanding of how much love and misery is behind the facade of public image from Britney Spears and Amy Winehouse, and my passion for writing from Taylor Swift. There was also the inspirational fact of a pop star. It required authenticity and confidence in the face of harsh criticism that knew no bounds. From romantic partners to weight to looks, but each one kept singing, dancing, and writing. This was so foreign to me and worked to spark a powerful realization. If these strong, talented women could shut out the world, I could quiet my brain. The realization and my pop star fixation didn't fix anything, but it helped me forget. As they glistened like ethereal beings, dancing across my screen and whispering melodic fairy tales into my ears, I forgot about how many times I needed to look at myself in the mirror, the bad luck that would follow if I didn't, and most importantly, I forgot about being forgotten. My OCD wasn't fixed, and the intrusive thoughts remained the same, but falling into the world of pop stars gave me the confidence to address these issues head on. It was almost impossible for me to find acceptance as a kid growing up with USC, but with OCD. Sorry, I went to USC. But with pop stars, I felt seen, and most importantly, happy. To them, it didn't matter how many times I tapped the concrete, and they didn't tell me OCD was a neat disease, in a bid to miscredit my experience. I didn't have to convince them of a mental illness I knew I had, and to me, that was everything. I marveled in awe, and most importantly, I danced. Thank you.